So, good morning to you all. Hmm? Just to recap, yesterday we talked about mainly about social change, what all important factors of social change are there, like physical, demographic, technological factors. So, we discussed in detail about that. Then we talked about social control, the concept of social control, the forms of social control, and what all important means are there of social control. So, we discussed that aspect in detail. We also, then that was the first unit. We completed first unit yesterday and we began the second block. The first block was finished and the second block, one unit was covered yesterday. That was mainly about marriage and family. We discussed about marriage and family related issues yesterday in our discussion. So today we are going to begin from second unit of block 2. Yeah, and that unit is society and culture. Yeah, so I'm just uh, so mm, it is not being shared yet, no? Yeah, it's sharing. Yeah. So now you can see this is our second unit, society and culture, plurality of culture in India. So in this unit, there are three important concepts, that is concept of society, concept of culture, and plurality of culture. So we will discuss about this, you know. When we talk about society, we had discussed society in detail, you know, basically, just a minute. You know, we have discussed about our concept of society day yesterday also and day before also. Again, in very brief, you know what it says, that man is the only animal who lives in a society and is considered to have culture. He is the only animal who laughs and who weeps. He alone makes a distinction between what things are ought to be in the society in which he resides. You know, so basically there are few important aspects that are being explained why society is necessary for a man. So we all understand that man has his needs and he chooses to meet or fulfill these needs by himself. He can meet them while being a member of a society or while living in a society. We all understand that aspect, that as an individual, if I say as an individual I can lead all my life on my own, that is not possible. I need to live in a society. We all, like who all are today there in our class, we all need to be a part of society. To live in a society, to live a life of a human being, we need each other. So this is something important, you know. Then second, it says that from the very beginning, from birth itself, man needs the support of others. Initially he is dependent upon others who provide him help in social and physical upbringing. His overall growth and development is provided within and by the organized social life. This is where the society has its basic relevance. The relevance is important, that we learn from society. So society provides the understanding, knowledge, and exposure to a man about his milieu and environment. It is in society that man learns to behave, to act, to respond, and to play his requisite role for his environment and for the society of which he is a member. So, this is what is important for us to understand about the society, that was already discussed yesterday and day before in very much detail. We had discussed the concept of society in depth. So now the main unit 2 talks about culture. So we have to understand what is culture. So the see, when we talk about culture, we have to understand. See, the culture basically one of the best and most acceptable the definition that was given in earlier time in a kind of a primitive culture. It describes that complex whole, which includes basically what all is included is knowledge, beliefs, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by a man as a member of society. See, we all are a member of society, so but we need all these things, you know. Culture basically teaches us about different ways how we can lead our life. We will understand slowly in detail about this. Like now, here in this slide only, it explains what all are the important characteristics of a culture, you know, that makes us understand what exactly is culture. So basically, culture is a complex whole. Complex whole means that all the elements and traits of culture are to be understood in a relationship with one another, you know. As we always talked about that in society we human beings live in a company of each other. So basically the culture also tells us that to maintain a relationship we have to be in a relationship with each other. So that is there. Then culture is learned. It is something which one learns, you know. It is not that something is born with the culture. No, culture is basically being learned by a man when he is living in a society. It is composed of habits that is learned, tendencies to react, acquired by each individual through his or her own life experiences after birth. So this is what is being learned. Then culture is inculcated. Culture is something which can be, you know, kind of one inculcate in that by man. See how to a large extent of passing on his acquired habits and behavior to his offsprings, you know. See, it is that something like animals. In animals, what we observe that animals cannot pass. But one animal, like for example, a dog, if dog is being raised by any human being or anywhere, the dog, whatever the dog learns, there is no way that the habit of a particular dogs are imbibed by the other dogs. You know, by the dogs. By in a way the offsprings of that particular dog doesn't live the same habits, you know. So that is something which one, it is something what we inculcate, you know. It is like if I learn certain habits or if I understand certain things, it is not that my children will always automatically get that. No, the because it is something what one learns when one lives in a society. So this is something important. Then culture is social. So habits of cultural order are not only inculcated and transmitted over time, they are all social, that is shared by all human beings living together in the society, है ना? The habits shared together by the members of the society constitute the culture. Fine. So the culture is commercial. The habits that constitute culture of a group form the ideal norms or pattern of behavior. Then we have culture is gratifying. You know, culture always and necessarily satisfies biological needs and secondary needs derived from it. It also helps in gratifying human interaction with the external world of nature and fellow man. Then it says culture is adaptive. Matlab culture changes. Culture changes means over the period of time, culture adjusts to the geographical environment and to the biological and social psychological demands of human organism. It adjusts through borrowing and organization. So this is again important Then culture is integrative. You know, like all the elements of culture tend to form tend to form a consistent and integrated whole. Some of its elements in perfect equilibrium with each another, one another. Then language as a vehicle of culture. Language is something which is we all know is very important to communicate with each other, to understand each other. We really know the language. So language helps. Language is a kind of a vehicle of a culture. You know so, it is something which, like, from one generation to another, through language in verbal or written form, we learn the culture values. Then, culture is cumulative. Cumulative, any knowledge or skills or any other form of culture is acquired by one generation from the preceding one. Like from us, from before us, we like whichever there in our the elders are there in the family, so something certain things we accumulate, it's something which we learn through them. So it is like from it is a kind of terminated to the next generation, transmitted to the sorry it is transmitted to the next generation. So this is what is important characteristics. So culture basically is a man-made part of the environment. Now it is something which is very importantly has been told over here that it has two aspects. Culture has two aspects. That is material culture and a non-material cultures. What do we understand by material culture? What is material culture? So material culture is basically it includes all those artifacts, all things that have been created by man himself, for his use. Like, for example, house, furniture, clothes, tools, etc. It is something that can be seen, that can be touched and observed. You know, the elements of material culture can be created, built, destroyed, and rebuilt and improved deliberately, according to the needs and desire of a man. So this is something which is really important. Like certain aspects like medicines are invented and discovered and put to use to fight diseases, improve health and quality of life. Like some other aspects of material culture are created and built to fulfill the desire and needs arising out of changes in non-material cultures. Now, what is non-material culture? So, non-material culture and the spiritual aspects of culture, it just says that just a second, huh? The non-material culture basically clearly that aspect of culture defines culture in terms of whole of man's material civilization. Like, it is like it says like tools, weapons, clothing, shelter, these are all the material culture. And on the other hand, man's non-material or spiritual civilization, such as basically non-material culture includes language, language, then literature, then art, religion, ritual, morality, law, or government. These are the things which basically we cannot touch. This is non-material cultural things are certain things which are kind of spiritualities. You can consider them in a spiritual manner also, which is something which we learn. These are not the things which are man-made. So that is the difference between material and non-material culture. you know this is what is something which we have to understand by material and non-material culture. Then, see, now it says what is the relationship between culture and society. So, this will again help us to understand what is the difference between culture and society. What do we understand by society and what do we understand by culture? You know, so this is something which we can learn from. So basically, Culture refers to the ideas, values, and norms in the mind of the people, whereas society refers to the people themselves. Whenever, like in the last two classes, we talked about the society, and we always talked society consists of people, the individuals who live in the society. They are basically part of the society. So, what we understand that ideas constitute culture, but the human beings, the living beings called society. Then again it says society is compound of people, the way they behave is their culture. So society means the people, but how the way they behave is their culture. This is how we have to understand the difference between culture and the society. So, so what we have understood, like the ideas, the behavior of the people, how we are, what we do is our culture. So this is how we have to understand. So, like again, yeah, it says the individual members may die and be replaced by others. है ना? We all are human beings. We know that if we have taken birth, we will die one day or the other. So, but society has a structural aspect. Its structure and continuation is based on birth, death, and replacement by other members. But culture is something which is an independent of individual members. है ना? Birth, death, or replacement of individual member is not of much consequence to the culture. It For the culture, it doesn't really matter whether one individual is alive or the other person is dead or whosoever is. So it doesn't make a difference to the culture. So this is something which we really have to understand. So this is how it is. So society falls in the realm of classical structure and social organization, whereas cultural falls in the realm of normative order. On the social level, there is a continuous process of interactive behavior, whose persistent form of social relationship refers to what we call social structure. But in culture is the fabric. What we understand from the culture, we have to understand that it is a fabric in which human beings interpret their experience. Social structure is the form that action takes. So, thus, culture and social structures are different aspects of the same phenomena. So, this is something we are trying to understand the difference, what we understand by society, and how we can understand the meaning of culture. So, again, it says so society means the totality of social facts projected on dimensions of relationship and groupings. Culture, the same totality in the dimension of action. Again, it is trying to explain when we say that society means there is a relationship between the people who are living. When we talk about culture says what action the members in the society who are living are taking to live their life. So, this is how we have to understand. So relations between individuals and all society change with age, with strength, with obligation assumed, But it is the culture training by the group that makes an individual fit to live according to the expectations of the group or the society. What the society expects, how the society wants the individual to live in the society, that is being taught by the culture. This is something what we learn from the culture. So now it says relationship of culture, society, and individual. This second thing, relationship of culture and society and individual. So basically, what is being explained over here is the social and cultural aspect of life are interrelated. The behavior of members of a society is altogether a matter of social relationship. Membership to this relationship is constituted by individuals who are unit of a society. At least two individuals cause a social relationship. As an individual, as a single person, there is no social relationship. To maintain a social relationship, we need to have at least two individuals, two people. है ना? So then the significance of an individual in society lies in promotion of its culture. So, all the three aspects culture, society, and individuals are related in a network called the social fabric. You know, individuals also interact with their environment, constructs ideas, and build their culture, both material and non material culture. So this is what then we try to understand that behavior of a single individual can be called his personality. Many of you must like when you studied social work in the 3 years, you will also learn certain basic things about psychology. So it says like when we talk about an individual as a single person, so if the single person's behavior, if we talk, that is mainly we are talking about his personality. But when we talk of a behavior of a group of individual is called culture. So culture can also be termed as the total behavior of individuals, who all are living in the society. So how they behave, that is called as their culture. Then now the other concept is here is plurality of culture. So plurality of culture, what do we understand by cultural plurality? Cultural pluralism is a pattern or a system in which people of different faith, religion, caste, creeds can all work and live together, retaining proudly their own faith and identity and sharing the common bond of being either by birth or choice. Plural culture means the coexistence of several subcultures within a given society on equal terms. In such a pluralistic culture, the validity of various subcultures is recognized. So, rural and urban areas of India present a plurality of culture in Indian setting. So, we all can observe that there is a plurality because we can find there are different kind of cultures existing within our country. Matlab, as you have taken a bachelor's in social work course and the syllabus of this course mainly talks about things which are more relevant to Indian setting, but as a course whatever is being written over here, so I have to share everything about that with you all. So in India, it has tribal, rural, and urban population. It presents a diversity of culture and people in terms of language, religion, caste, race, food, dresses, and way of life. So this is what we understand by plurality of culture. So this is the our mainly the second unit. We have till now try to understand the second unit of our second block. You anyone has any question, or I can proceed to the third unit? Okay, so now I'll proceed to the third
No,
unit.
I have a question. Uh,
Yes.
when you are explaining the material culture and non-material culture, and
Uh-huh.
you haven't mentioned, I didn't hear language. Where can we put it? Is it immaterial or non-material or?
Yeah, see, when you see your this material what has been given to you, there you can find out. And I have in the PPT that it is not written, but I am again repeating it. When we talk about material culture means the things what we can touch, we can prepare, we can make, like food, like clothing, like furniture, houses, all these kind of things, like tools, weapons, shelter, machines, even our medicines. So anything and everything that can be made is all a part of a material culture. But when we talk about non material culture, that means our language, our literature, our art, our rituals, our morality, law, or government. This is something which we cannot touch, you know. So that mainly the difference is something which is not being made, that is our non-material culture, and the things which are being created, which are being made, are called material culture. Okay, somebody else has raised a hand. Ahmad Bubu Buba.
Yes, madam. Morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello. Hello, madam.
Yes, please.
Am I audible? Okay.
Yes, yes,
I just
yes.
want to, I just want to say something about material culture.
Mm-hmm.
So hear you now say material culture is something that people has used or
Mm-hmm.
they have created
Mm-hmm.
by their own hands.
Yes,
What
yes, yes.
I
Very right.
want to know
Yeah.
here, what I want to hear, what I want to know about it. Just in my experience or in my understood or observations, the material culture is some kind of materials that people has used in the community before you
Mm-hmm.
or before your parents, like their way
Mm-hmm.
they are dressing, way they
Mm-hmm.
are doing their marriage, the way that they are doing some kind of different activities.
Yes,
So,
yes. It is, see, when we say
hmm,
what you are saying, in a way, yes, it is very much right. Whatever, like if you have given an example of a marriage, in marriage, whatever things are being given, that becomes a material culture. But the way, the language, how we behave, how we react, how the kind of basically the language, the religion, the rituals we follow, when there is any marriage ceremony is happening, there are certain rituals to be followed, some laws to be maintained, so all that comes a part of non-material culture. So whatever is being given, whatever is being used for that marriage ceremony, the clothing, the food, or the gift items, whatever, that are all the material culture, and the rituals followed to perform that marriage becomes a non-material culture. This can be an example to understand that. Is it okay?
okay, it's okay, it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. So now I'll now go to our next unit, that is social stratification. So what do we understand by social stratification? So stratification basically, just a minute. Social stratification. So, social stratification basically refers to a system by which a society ranks category of people in hierarchy. Social stratification, in other words, is a kind of a hierarchy what is being made. So, in US, in United States, it says that some groups have greater status, power, and wealth than other groups. You know, and these differences are what lead to social stratification. So, social stratification can be defined as the arrangement of groups of individuals in hierarchical positions on the basis of criteria like wealth, prestige, ethnicity, gender, and power. So, like in other words, like in a common consciousness of whom they are, what their common problems are, what should be done to remove these problems. This all comes under that. Social stratification is a major form of social inequality. So in social stratification, what we are going to study now, it basically we will learn there is so much of inequality in our, as a human being we face in a different ways a different kind of inequalities. So this is what is meant mainly by the social stratification. So like in other words, it says that the medical doctor is kind of be treated at one place on a top, and sweeper at the bottom. The social worker, like the people like you and me, are in a middle rank. So in India, class and caste are the main factors of social stratification. You know, this is what we will study further uh, in our talks. Here, actually, uh, here by chance, I have written about, there are two sociologists that have talked about this. Here, I have talked about by chance one sociologist, but in your material, it talks about two sociologists. One is Marx, Karl Marx. So Karl Marx has explained that it is basically an economic factor. you know it is like a class consists of group of people who have similar relations to the forces of production. For example, in our modern society, all individuals who own factories, the people who own factories are called capitalists, and individuals who work in these factories for wages are workers. Similarly, in agrarian society, individuals who own land can be called feudal lords, and those who work for them are serfs or laborers. So this is basically a difference. So the capitalist or the laborers, feudal lords or the serfs, these kind of terms are being used to understand this concept. That the it says the result was that the workers, laborers or slaves were always exploited. They were always exploited by the capitalist, feudal lords or slave owners in their respective societies. So this is something that has been explained by Karl Marx. Then Max Weber says, as I have written it here, that there are three dimensions of stratification: wealth, status, and power. Weber also asserted that class formation did not depend solely on ownership of productive forces. It depends on the market situation by which an individual could realize his potential in a competition with others. So, this is what is being explained by him. Now, in our today's class, in our this unit, it talks morely from an Indian perspective about. Now we are going to study about the concept of class, and then we will study the concept of caste. These are the two things which are very common in Indian kind of a setting. But as it is a part of your syllabus, so I have to touch and explain you everything. See, a social class basically is a group of individuals who have more or less similar wealth. The possession of wealth enables the individual to obtain those goods and services that are scarce and are valued by others. These goods and services differ from society to society. In traditional society, in our earlier society, traditional society, the wealthy person may buy land and gold, whereas in our modern society, he may invest in stock market, buy luxury cars, or go abroad for vacations and all. So wealth allows the person to create more wealth. you know so this is how they are trying to explain. So concept of class and its characteristics. The class basically based stratification is becoming increasingly very very important. So now, just a minute. So concept of, the most modern society have class based stratification. 1 minute. It is basically says what are the it is here. Okay. Okay. So basically, it says class is relatively a open stratification system. If the society offers a large number of opportunities and encourages members to achieve higher position, then that society can be called as an open stratification society. So this is something which is very important here, that the society offers opportunities, matlab it offers opportunities and to its member, and expect them to grow. That is when the expectation is the members can grow when they work and when they want to earn something, and that is called a open certification society. But if the society has a limited number of opportunities for upward mobility, and its normative values prohibits its members from achieving higher positions, then that society is called a closed stratification society. So generally everybody prefers to live in a open stratification kind of a society, where there are opportunities for individuals to learn and live life in a maybe in a hierarchical kind of a system. It says that class system is a form of, basically when we say that in like in most of the setting, it is a form of open stratification system. An individual with his achievements can gain entry to a higher class and acquire prestige. When any individual who's working hard and trying to achieve something, some success, he can, he can become a higher class person and acquire prestige in the life. They are examples of individuals who, by their hard work and achievements, rose from poverty and became millionaires. You have, maybe we all have seen or may have heard about some people in our lives, that somebody we have known that he was very poor. We heard he didn't have anything in life, but he really did so much of hard work and he's became a millionaire. He's earning really very high. So that is something which can be, anybody can make efforts to come up to that extent, can become a millionaire. Then social mobility in modern society is based on intelligence, merit, competence, and achievement of individual. So this is something what we learn from here. It says that level of competition in modern society is high. It's really very high. Since achievement is stressed, failure of an individual are looked down upon by others and they lose self esteem. Maybe many times you have seen in the newspaper about school children committing suicide after falling in school exams. Many times school, like you may have heard, and we all have heard or observed, some children are committing suicide, or we have heard about many farmers committing suicide due to hardship, due to financial problems, and students due to the kind of a competition they are facing in the society, that they are not able to pass or not able to score good marks, so they just somehow commit suicide. So this is a kind of a phenomena what we all what is being faced, because there is so much of competition, there is so much of stress in the life. So it is desired for high achievement and fulfilling the high expectations of others that pressurize vulnerable students to take this kind of a extreme step. Secondly, achievement based society should provide the minimum facilities of health, education, and housing of individuals to make them fit for the competition. So, that is also a reason. Like the facilities are that not much, that education, that health facilities, that housing are not that much that individuals can make that much of hard efforts to became millennial or become a higher class person. So this is again something that has been seen. So impact of child class system in India, membership of a particular class groups influence the behavior of its members. The class character in India is quite different from Western societies. Here, class and caste coexist, and class categories like upper, middle, and lower are parallel to caste categories. So, now when we study about the caste system, we will be able to understand how they are interlinked and they are related to each other. है ना? Studies have shown that the upper class predominantly belong to the upper caste, which are an ascribed status. This is something which is already in existence and this is how it moves forward. So this is how it goes. So this is how, like what is being observed and seen. It says those who are higher in terms of the class and caste terms control available resources to a great extent, leaving behind a section of Indian population below and around the poverty line. So this is what is being observed, that in class system we can see like our lower class, middle class and upper class, and how somebody can make efforts and try to become a higher class person, but there are reasons why they are not even in a position to, even if they feel and they are making efforts, and still they are not able to come from the lower income group to the middle class families, or even from a middle class family to come to the upper class family. So there are difficulties and different reasons for that. Now we will go to the next thing, that is concept of caste and its characteristics. So what do we understand by caste system? So caste is a kind of a must debated topic in India. The word caste basically refers to Spanish word casta, that means breed in Spanish. That is a word in Spanish, huh? In the Indian context, it represents caste and related social practice. The caste system influences the social life of the Indian in a number of ways, and it assigns ascribed status to its members. Now, if I go further, I see here it has been explained what kind of different caste system is there in Indian setting. There is basically in India, in our traditional time, in the very old time, it talked about Rig Veda. This word is Rig, R-I-G, Rig Veda. This is a term. It talks about four main Vedas, you know, that has four Varnas. So, what are the four hierarchical? Because it has the hierarchical order. What is that order? That order is that it says that people are in a hierarchical order, like number top, Brahmins, then number two, Kshatriyas, number three, Vaishyas, and number four, Shudras. So, what is do we understand by Brahmins? The profession of Brahmins is that of priests and teachers. Whoever is working as priest, that you can even relate with the priest and the teachers, they are being treated as Brahmins in India, in Indian setting. Yeah. And then number two is Kshatriya. Kshatriyas are the warriors and the rurals. है ना? And then the third term is Vaishyas. So Vaishyas are the traders and other common people. Then the number four is Shudras. Shudras are the occupy the lowest position in hierarchy, and they perform very menial kind of a task, like of a peon. Somebody is working as a peon, somebody is working as a housemaid. So that kind of a work is being considered being done by the Shudras. And there is another category, that is untouchables. Untouchables means who are working as a sweepers, who are doing a kind of a job which is not being accepted by the people in living in our society. They do need them, but still they are the people who considered as untouchables. So, individuals are born into a caste, and membership of a caste is determined by birth. This is something which we, in Indian setting, which we need to accept is class is something which one can still change, but caste is something which one cannot change. One is born with the caste system that is determined. Like if I am born, I know that my family, my parents, my grandparents belong to Kshatriya kind of a thing. So I belong to Kshatriyas. I know that my background is of a Kshatriya family. So, or if somebody is having their ancestors like Brahmins, means they are like the pandits, priests, or teachers, so they consider themselves as Brahmins. So this is how it is. So then it says that There are instances where caste as a whole, after an improvement in economic status and changes in lifestyle, have claimed a higher status in society. This is also observed, like it is that even though they try to mold, some bring some changes in the caste system. So it is being said. Now, to understand this in more clarity, there are a few important characteristics. What are that? First is hierarchy. Here it has been explained about hierarchy. So hierarchy is a superior subordinate relationship between various individuals and groups. Hierarchy is one form or another exists in every society. This is something which you can also relate with. You have also seen that hierarchy is something which is visible everywhere, which one can see everywhere. Every place it can be seen. See, the degree of ritual purity and impurity associated with a particular caste determines its position in the hierarchy. Wealth and power are not the determining factors. For example, a Brahmin whose economic status is lower than a Rajput is accorded a superior position because of his higher ritual status. Matlab, in another words, if we see there is one Brahmin who is working as a priest anywhere in a temple or wherever it is, and his income is not really good, but since he holds this kind of a position, so when he holds that kind of a position, so that is considered, kind of a good hierarchy. His position is above. Somebody wants to ask something now, please. Abdul Salam. Yeah, Abdul Salam, you want to ask something?
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
I just raised my hand previously.
Okay, fine. I just saw it, so I thought I'll ask. Okay, fine. Yeah, fine. So this is what it is. It is in a way, it has been explained how it makes a difference. That hierarchy is something that is very important for us to understand. It says, like, sometimes it can be understood from the land, wealth, and access to power is again something which is very important. That second thing is segmented division of society. So it says castes are well developed groups with membership based on birth and not by selection. As I said earlier, caste is something which we are born with, you know. So then rights and duties of the individual are controlled by caste councils which exist in every caste, you know like it has been explained, like sometime that like somewhere there are offenses include adultery, causing injury to others, killings, and punishment can include the imposition of fines, ordering corporal punishment, and even the death sentence. So many castes have their own gods and goddesses that are not a part of the larger religious tradition. It is not that there are that kind of a religious practice, that there is no such kind of a practice there, that sometime of their own way of developing this kind of a thing, have their own small kind of a believe in gods and goddesses and behave like that. Ahmed Bobo has raised a hand. What is it?
Okay, yes, ma'am. I just want to ask some questions regarding caste.
Hmm.
So, what
Yes.
are the difference between caste system, caste society, and caste
What?
dominant?
Sorry.
I say, what is the difference between caste system, caste society, dominant caste?
Dominant caste, I don't know what is dominant caste. I never use this word dominant in any way.
Okay,
I have not used this word dominant. No, I am talking now when I am talking about the characteristics of caste. I talked about hierarchy. That has a meaning with the caste system. There is no word called dominant.
Okay.
Nothing dominant. There is nothing of that
Oh,
sort. Yeah. Yeah. So now again, so many castes have their own gods and goddesses, as I said. So they have a different way of religious practices. So this is what it is. Then it says restrictions on feeding and social intercourse. That exchange of cooked food between various castes is based on specific rules and conditions. Food items are divided into pakka and kacha. Pakka, these two words are Hindi words, pakka and kacha. Pakka is cooked in ghee. Means ghee is considered to be in India. We use this term desi ghee and other kind of ghee. So desi ghee is supposed to be of a superior quality. You know, so this is it says that pakka is cooked in a ghee and are considered superior to kacha food, which is cooked in a water. So a Brahmin, who is supposed to be a very higher class person, a Brahmin can take only pakka food from Kshatriya, from the next person, you know, and Vaishyas, but not from the Shudras or untouchables. And the other hand, Kshatriya will take kacha food from Brahmins, but only accept pakka food from the Vaishyas who are lower than him. So this is how it has been explained. This is being explained that how there are restrictions, how the Brahmins are supposed to take food items from Kshatriya or from Kshatriya or Vaishyas, but they will not take food or any item from Shudras. So this is again something which we have learned. Lois Nagul, you have raised a hand. What is it? Or is it by mistake somebody raised? Okay. Fine. So now the next is civil and religious disabilities and privileges of different caste system. So this is again the different caste in the hierarchy have different rights and privileges. The result is that social life is segregated on the basis of caste. Like it has given an example. In North Indian villages, impure castes are segregated while pure castes live together. In South India, all castes tend to be segregated. In Tamil Nadu, for example, they have given that there is a place where Hindu lives are called Ur, and where Dalit lives are called Cheri. So Cheri is situated at a distance from the village. So this is what it is that in India, that India has so many states. In certain states, too much of this caste system is in is being into practice. Like if we talk about, especially in urban areas, if I talk about Delhi metro cities, like Delhi, Bombay, you know in some more talk about some other states, it may not be in practice so much, but in some parts of our country, in few states, this system is still in is being practiced. People are still believing in the caste system, and they believe in touchability and untouchability, whom they can touch and whom they cannot touch. So all those things are still in existence in certain places. So this is what has been explained here also. Then it says that the religious practice reinforced this hierarchy, and Shudras has liabilities that were attached to his caste status. They could not enter into most part of the temples. It is still in practice in some parts of our country that the Shudras or the untouchables, they are not allowed to visit temples. Their entry is not permitted. They cannot visit the temples and all. So it is there in some places. so attached to his caste, and only Brahmins were allowed and they are privileged. In rural areas, even now, this discrimination against the lower caste member exists. As I just mentioned, it is there. Then the next is lack of unrestricted choice of occupation. So this is again something important, that membership of the caste is hierarchy and this hereditary. So caste system is basically, as I said earlier, it is a kind of a hereditary, and each caste has a traditionally assigned occupation, regardless of the individual's attitude or skills. He had to adopt certain occupation of his caste. Like, for example, if somebody is a Brahman and somebody in that Brahman family is practicing priest, so it is expected that his son or daughter or his child, mainly sons, it is there that they will also learn the same profession. They will also come into the shoes. In a way, it's a kind of a shoes. They will also wear the shoe of his father. They will automatically learn the same occupation. So this is there, you know and education was given. Basically, it is also observed that education was given only on the basis of caste. Young members would be attached to older members to train them in occupation skills of their caste, as I just mentioned. So, this is something which is being observed. In pre modern time, the economic relations between various castes was in the form of Jajmani system. It is again a Hindi word, Jajmani. It says each service caste performed a particular function for the landlords. They used to receive payments in kind and commonly on the annual basis. The service caste and the higher caste had a client patron kind of a relationship. You know, though in modern time this relationship is in a way of kind of changing, but earlier it used to be like that. It used to be like that the person who is in hierarchy in a higher position, the lower class person who is there has to serve him, and then in return that the person from that lower class will get kind of something in goods or some amount for his help, maybe annually, how to proceed further, how to live his life. He may be paid certain things, maybe in goods, in the form of goods, or maybe in cash, maybe annually. So this was the system in practice. Though with changing of time, in modern time, this is comparatively lesser. You know, as the society is changing, so it is being accepted. Now here the term is uh, basically there is one term, endogamy. What is endogamy? So here endogamy refers to the marriage practice in which the members of a group marry from within the group members, means within the same caste system. When the marriage happens within the same caste system, within the same group of people, that is called endogamy. And here there are two more terms explained. One is hypergamy, that is a higher class man marries a lower class woman, that is called hypergamy. And then another term, that is if a lower class man marries a higher caste woman, that is called hypogamy. So these terms are explained here. Then it says caste in other religion. So in other religion, what do we understand by caste? In other religion. So that says that caste exists only, basically it has been explained here that this caste system exists only in Hinduism. So basically this practice is mainly in India. The families who are Hindus who practice this caste system. It explains here the Muslims, the Christians, the Buddhists, the Sikhs seems to follow the principle of inclusion and hierarchy in different ways. Islam and Christianity believe in radical equality, you know, between its members. So, however, the existence of caste like practice shows that in some aspects, the social order in which a religion is practiced influences it more than its theology. So this is what it is, that caste like differences may be observed in religions other than Hinduism. In Sikhism, there are groups like Jat Sikhs and Mazhabi Sikhs. Like, they do not intermarry. Same way in Islam, four groups were identified that can be compared to caste. What are that? Sayyids, Sheikhs, Pathans, and Mughals. You can, maybe many of you can relate with that. So, Sayyid claims that they are descendants of Prophet Muhammad, while Sheikhs claim that they are descendants of the tribe of Prophet Muhammad. Pathans and Mughals are considered to be the various class comparable to Kshatriyas in Hinduism. So this is how it has been explained. So these groups are basically, there are certain other groups in Islams where the profession they pursue, like weavers, butchers, water carriers, etc. These groups are considered lower in status than Sayyids and Sheikhs, Pathans and Mughals. So this is what has been explained here. However, anyone from any social group, if competent in religious knowledge, can become a priest or Molvi. So this is also has been written over here. So now it is there are some more important things explained here. How we can understand, how the caste and social change are interlinked, how they can be understood in that sense. So, caste and industrialization. So, again, we all can observe this, and you might in South Africa also, in many of the countries, may have observed that industrialization with time is going. We all can observe that the process of industrialization has affected traditional Indian society in a number of ways. It has particularly affected the caste system. The traditional form of exchange of goods in Indian society was by the Jajmani system. What I just said, the Jajmani system was based on client patron relations, in which the lower caste person provides services to the higher class or the upper class member, and in exchange, it gets annual payment in the form of goods, as I just talked about. So, this is what it is. Yeah. Okay. Then it says industrial development has increased the use of inanimate source of energy and increased the size of market. So it has seen the growth of industries increase the employed workers who exchange their labor for wages. Industrialization spread. The movement of workers from the primary and household sector to the secondary and formal sector increased. Industrial development basically changed the social and economic relation between the various castes. The service caste often found employment which changes their status and their income. Industries also brought individuals from different castes together at the site of work, and social distance between castes was not maintained here. Here, this is something what we all can observe. This industrialization, this part explains that due to the industry, due to this kind of a development, it is observed when the people are coming to the industries for work, there is a difference in their caste. They may be from a different caste people, but when they have come to industry to work, so they may belong to a different caste in reality, but when they are coming to work, so that kind of a caste different system cannot be maintained. So they have to work with each other. They have to accept each other and work with each other. So this is something which is a gradual change that is being observed. Now the next is caste system and urbanization. This is again a phenomena which is again common for you also. This is, you are also familiar with this, that people are kind of from rural background, they are coming to the urban side. So this is again a social phenomena of urbanization, which is the movement of people from rural areas to urban areas. So urban living promoted anonymity and formal relation between individuals. This is something which is general, maybe you can also relate with that. that when people are living in rural areas, they are more close to each other, they more feel comfortable in the company of each other, they can relate better with each other. But in urban areas, somehow this tendency is missing, that closeness, that kind of a feeling is missing. They like to be anonymous, they do not like to share anything. So this kind of things are generally seen in urbanization, kind of when people are coming from rural areas to urban areas, so they observe this. So employment opportunity in these sectors are based basically on skills, hard work, education, and training of the person, and not on his or her caste. Again, like in industrialization, same way. In urbanization also, it is observed that if anybody is getting job, that is based on his skill, hard work, education, and training. Social life in urban area basically is also different from rural areas. Ritual purity and social distance cannot be maintained. For example, no one can ask the person sitting next to him or her in the bus what is her caste. Like if the two people are going somewhere, you know, they will not ask each other whether you belong to the same caste or from a different caste. You are sitting in the same bus, you are going in the same bus, so you will go accordingly. You know, similarly, no one knows the cook's caste in a hotel, and therefore rules regarding cooking could not be followed. So these kind of changes we can observe. Yes, Ahmad, Bubua, you raised a hand again, or is it by mistake? Okay. Then next is caste and the political system. So caste and the political system is again something which is important. So this is here it says that Indian constitution is based on liberal values such as equality, liberty, fraternity, secularism and citizenship. Caste system is based on values totally anti-ethical to these values. Inequality, segmentation, restricted choices of occupation are the values of the caste system. So in Indian institution, gives every individual the right to vote, right to participate for elections. All such kind of rights are given to each and every individual who are the citizen of India. So this practice is being followed. So this is what it is, that political system allows every individual to participate in every affair. It is not that if you are now from a Shudra or from a Brahman who will be allowed to vote or no. Everybody is equal in the eyes of law. So caste system and social movement, this says like in there are, like, you have heard the name of Mahatma Gandhi, then there was a Raja Ram Mohan Rai, then there are other people, so they believe that the caste system can be changed slowly and from within the system. They always believed in this kind of a thing, that we don't really have to go by the caste system, we have to come up, come and learn to live in a diplomatic way, in a different way of life. We all are equal. So in other hands, radicals like Ambedkar, Phule, Periyar believed that the caste system had to be abolished completely, and its continuation in any form will lead to exploitation and oppression. So this is something, again, there were so many social movements that had taken place in the past in our history, that this kind of a caste system should be abolished. So we should treat everybody as a equal, and consider everybody as a equal citizen. Then it says caste and ideology. So Western Enlightenment ideas based on rationality and reason reached India during colonial period. Liberalism, socialism, Marxism, and nationalism were the more prominent of these ideology. So this is again a practice that has been given importance here. Then caste and modern education. So traditional education was ascriptive based, while modern education is achievement oriented. So again, our education system is such that allows, inculcates values of equality, fraternity, liberty, and social justice in its students. Further, students come together in modern schools for studying and interact freely with each other. You know, like if anybody is going to school, all are allowed to attend school. So school doesn't say that students from a different class has to sit on a different chair. All are allowed to sit at the same place. All are permitted to sit together. So this is how this system works. You know, so in modern times, education has become open but expensive. Yeah, there are private schools which are very expensive. There is a again, matlab this there is a reservation for SC, ST children in educational institution and for courses. Special grants and scholarship are also provided in these sections for their educational empowerment by the state, you know, so and central government. So these kind of facilities are also given to the people who are coming from the lower class kind of a strata. So this is something which is very important. Now, impact of caste system in Indian society. What kind of a impact we have observed, in the caste system. So here it says caste system has weakened, but it has certainly not vanished. It is not completely vanished. We cannot say this kind of a caste system is completely vanished. It is still there in existence. It says compartmentalization of individual life. The influence of caste is reduced in certain areas of individuals' life. Eating habits, social interactions are areas where the influence of caste system was high, but is now very minimal. You know, it says that choices of bride or bridegrooms for marriage and social networking caste still plays an important role. It is not complete, as I said, it is not completely vanished. So sometimes if the marriages have to happen, so they believe to have marriages in the same kind of a caste system, this is still in existence. Then next is decline of caste in ritual spheres. In ritual spheres, this kind of a system is reduced. Then caste as a social network. So caste have become a basis for forming a network to gain resources. Caste associations are frequently used to get jobs, get promotions, access to goods and services, to develop business networks and influence decision making in government and elsewhere. So this is again something like which considers very important. Then caste consciousness and community consciousness. We see this is again very important that caste is still the basis for defining and maintaining the identity of the person. Caste identity of the individual comes in conflict with the individual's identification with the larger community. The caste based identities adversely affect the unity of the people and at times hinder the people from taking collective actions. So, this is observed. Further, the caste has played a role in adversely affecting the distribution of rewards of the community development program. So, this is something which at times affects. Uh, to conclude that a common community consciousness does not exist in Indian villages. This is again something important. Then caste consciousness lead to violence. So this is again because if sometimes this is also observed that this kind of a caste conscious, if you are very caste conscious, it leads to violence. Lower caste member is not allowed to sit on a horse during a marriage procession. The low caste members are disallowed to vote. In some parts, it is being observed. Lower caste members are not allowed entry into the village or to travel on certain roads. Low caste members are disallowed from participating in temples and festivals. A girl is teased by men of other caste. So all these kind of caste consciousness is being observed. This can lead to violence at times. So this is something At times, it is observed that caste has also led to structural violence. Untouchability is the most virtual form of structural violence. So, untouchability, the people who are untouchable, they are kind of a form of structural violence. It says lower caste members are not allowed entry into certain common facilities, like schools, temples. They are not allowed to use common resources. Lower caste women not allowed to draw water from the well. This is something again observed, and we have seen this kind of thing happening in some movies also. In some of our Indian movies, these kind of practices are shown. Certain jobs like cooks in midday scheme of the government are not given to Dalits, as it is believed that they are polluting the food. This is again a thing which is difficult to accept. Ahmad Buba, you have raised a hand again.
Yes, madam, I just want to ask something regarding caste system.
Want to say something? Can't hear you. Your voice
Yes.
I'm not getting.
Okay, have you hear me?
I'm not
Am
able
I
to hear
audible
you.
now? Okay. I'm not audible now. Am I audible?
Some issue. Can't hear. I'm not able
Well,
to hear. Maybe you can write down if there is something. Or we can take up the questions in the end also. Yeah. So caste has caused problems in modern organizations. So very often people are selected on the basis of caste rather than merit. It is observed in so many places. We see that there are certain kind of a reservation. The people who are better in hierarchical system are being given jobs, and they are not considered on the basis of merit. So this is again a common phenomena. This kind of things are being observed. Caste organizations have very crucial influence during elections in determining the victory also. This also has been observed. So then caste has interfered in uniform application of laws and rules. Caste have different value system, different lifestyles, different occupations, and subsequently different interests. And this has led to political and cultural pluralism. Different value systems give rise to different opinions, which can encourage a diversity of opinion. So, this is again something which has been observed. So, now I think we are closing this unit 3, and now we will come to unit 4. So, this we have to now see that we are able to complete this. Huh? Anybody wants to ask anything before, or I can start with it? I can start. Okay. Ahmad Bubu, try to speak if I can hear. I don't know why your voice was not coming.
okay, am I audible now? Am I audible?
Still, I'm not able to hear. I don't know what is the problem. Just a minute, huh? Just give me a minute. Just speaks again. I will try to hear.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah, you are. Oh, my this thing has gone down, so I had a problem. Anyway, tell me now. Yeah.
Okay, okay, no problem. Just I want to ask question, or I want to share some I understood by regarding caste system. What I want to say regarding caste system, I mean caste system is the way people are
Sorry,
the way
caste
people are
system
live in
is.
their I say, do you mean I say you mean that the caste system is the way people that are alive in their communities.
Yes, it is
Oh,
basically within India. This practice is being observed in India. So this is the subject what you are learning. This course has this. So I have to teach. Though this practice is not there in your country, but as this is a course, the course talks about class system. Class system is something that exists everywhere, but caste system is something which is only meant for India. It talks about it when you study it, when you read your book also, this material what you have received, that also says this is something, this practice which is there in India, in Indian setting. So you can see for examination point, you can, maybe not, if you are not comfortable, you can leave this portion. It is not that important that if one question, even if there is any question on that, you can ignore that because there are 8 questions and you have to answer 5. So caste system, as it is very specific to Indian setting, you may ignore it. You may not need to study that. It is not that important for you to learn. Okay, is it okay? So now, because now we have start of our fourth unit, that is basically the state as a social institution, its role and impact on the institutions. You know, this it will talk about the state, constitution and law, citizens' rights and duties, welfare state. These are the main key concepts. There are many others, but here the few important aspects of this unit 4 is being told, has been written over here. So now the state. So what do we understand by the state? State as an institution. It's impart on other societal institution. Basically, it's to understand that a community or society politically organized under one independent government within a definite territory can be called a state. The state is a special institution which serves the interest of the whole community or the class of society. The state basically emerged as a definite stage of social development, and in order to understand the state, social evolution in general must be understood first. Without understanding the general laws of social development, the state and the politics cannot be studied objectively. So we have to understand every aspect. So here, see, population. So for every state, all states must have a population. So when we try to understand the concept of state, so we have to understand there is a population. Nowhere it says that the number of people, that how many number of people constitute a population of that state. Nowhere any definite guidelines are given for that. No explicit or fixed figure can be considered for this. But population is important. It basically covers like uh, there is some kind of a lay down within the broad line certain principles which should determine the size of the population necessary for the existence of a state. So this is important. Then the next is territory. So territory is another essential physical constituent of the state. Territory of the state consists not only of a definite portion of the land but also include water, airspace within its boundaries. It also extends in addition to a distance of 3 miles into the sea from its coast, an area called the territorial waters. They may be bodies of water, mountain ranges, deserts, or artificial like stones, trenches, walls, etc. So there is no rule or practice concerning the extent of territory. So then number 3 is government. See, it says See, a mere mass of people occupying a practical portion of territory does not constitute a state until the people have organized themselves politically and established a civil government. There must be some political agency that command and regulates a government who obeys. The government exercises the authority of the state. Government is a narrower term than the state. State is a kind of a bigger term. When we talk about a government, that is, the government, the state, to state makes a government. Government is required to perform certain functions. So state includes both the government and the governed. You need a government who will give the things and the people who are being governed. Then it says that it means the supreme and ultimate power of the state by virtue of which it may command and enforce obedience. So this is what is meant by government. Then it says international recognition. International recognition is the outcome of sovereignty of the state, not the conditions of its government. You know, a state recognizes another state when its government is convinced that the other states has the characteristics of a state. Recognition is the voluntary action of one state for another. There is recognition can be of two types. It can be said in a de facto and de jure. De facto recognition means the state is recognized as existing, how it is existing, in that. But but not necessarily in law. But de jure, that recognition implies that state is a rightful one, legitimate origin and existence. That is important for any state to run. It is important to have some legitimacy. Role of the state and impact of the other institution. The state takes the responsibility to provide all the public goods such as education, healthcare, drinking water, basic infrastructure in both rural and urban settings, and provide social security. So these are the basic services that needs to be provided by the state. Next is here constitution and law. So when we talk about constitution and law, so law is applied to rules for guidance of human conduct. So law is something which is important. Wherever we live, we have to follow certain laws, rules and regulations. No group of people can live longer in peace without such rules of conduct. The word law has been derived from the term lag, 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 that means something which lies fixed. So there is some fixed kind of a thing that has to be followed. Law in principle, which is fixed or uniform or generally followed. This is very important. So it's important that need to follow the law. So it says the laws that governs the conduct of human beings under the three categories: moral laws, social laws, and political laws. The people generally obeys the law because why do people need to obey the law? They need to obey because it is the force of the state. The state is making a kind of a force. Then the promotion of common good, then rule conforming habits. So these are few important things why constitution of law is important. Then next is, now these are the terms which are basically concerned with law. Legislature, executive, and judiciary. What do we understand by legislature? Legislature is actually most important of the three organs of the government because it represents the people and tries to represent their hopes and aspirations in shape of laws. Legislature is the official rule-making body of a political system. So what do we understand by legislature? Legislature is basically a body who makes rules. Who makes law? It is a kind of a political system that makes rules for the people to follow. So, in Indian Constitution has adopted the parliamentary system of government, a system in which the executive is responsible to the legislature constituted by the election. The primary function of the legislature is to legislate both in the sense of scrutinizing the details of laws and in the sense of authorizing, of legitimizing the passage of law. So this is very important. Then second is executive. So executive is that part of the organization of the government which is concerned with the enforcement of the law enacted by the legislature as well as general administration. So this is again an important body. It mainly performs functions like maintenance of law and order, enactment of the laws. So these kind of roles it plays. Then third is judiciary. You know, this judiciary. So judiciary is the most important organ of the government because it is 1 minute, huh? It is through the judiciary that the justice is realized as defined by law, both as between one private citizen and another, as between private citizens and members of the government. Faisal, you want to say something?
Yes, yes, ma. I want to ask. I
Hmm.
have a question. My question is about the
Mhm.
state. Ma, is that any difference between the state and nation? What are the difference between state and nation?
Nation basically is a broader concept, and state is a body. State is something that has been given certain responsibilities. State nations. I really need to see how to. I will explain this to you. Maybe I am finding it difficult to answer you right away about this question. I will keep this question in mind and I will respond to you in my next class because I am not able to explain in words how to understand the difference
Much.
between nation and state.
Hello, ma.
Yeah.
Should I say something about what Faisal asked? Hello,
Sorry.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I said, can I say something about
Yes.
what
Uh,
Faisal asked?
what
Hello, ma'am.
special acts? Yeah. What special acts?
What Faisal asked about the state, difference between state and the nation.
This
I
is what
said,
I'm saying. I will try
I
to.
said,
I will
hello, ma'am.
explain that. Yes.
I said, can I say something regarding to this question?
Okay, please say. Please inform. Yeah.
Okay, okay. On my own understanding, the difference between state and the nation is that state is a set or group of people living together
Mm,
with a defined uh, territory, population, government,
mm, mm,
government, and the state must be recognized by other nation. Then, when we are talking about nation is a group of people living together with the same language, culture, and the norms. When should I give example of nation here in Nigeria, like Hausa nation, Igbo nation, Fulani nation. At the center of nation, it is language and their culture. Then when should I give an example about nation in India, like Telugu, maybe Telugu nation, Hindu
No, no,
nation.
no, 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 no. No, it is not
Okay.
like that. See, nation is the word which is used for the country. Country is recognized, country has a different name like a nation. And states, like in India, India is considered as a nation. And in India, there are around more than 30 states. So those are the states, so that is actually, state is different than a nation. Nation also has the group of people, nation also has the different languages. The same, even in one state also you will find, like I just mentioned when I was talking about the state here. See, here in state, I talked about population, territory, government, sovereignty, international recognition. All this is there in state, but all this is also there in nation. But exact difference, even I am not able to explain you today. So I will probably explain that to you in my next class, how to differentiate between state and nation.
Okay, okay,
There is something
okay, ma. Thank
I
you.
Yes,
will give some clarity. I will give that to you
yes,
maybe
madam.
on Monday. Yeah.
Uh, uh, can you give me the chance so that I can have something to add on what my brothers are trying to
Okay,
talk
please.
about?
Please say. Yeah.
Yes, to me, the state, I think, is a statutory body
Hmm.
with the powers centered to few people to give guideline to others, or to be to lead the others with a common constitution and the rule of law. It works properly with the state. Then a nation, this is where we see that the subjects, for example, with the common people, where we live in our communities, it does not bother on the language that, for example, we cannot say that we can speak the common language. Because I will give an example. Here in Uganda, we are around 56 different language.
Yes,
So
yes,
does
I
it mean
know.
that
Yeah.
we are not a nation? It doesn't. So to me, I think a nation, this is just an organized group of people living in an area. That is it. Thank you so much for giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, this is fine. So nation also has to, you in nation we do speak different languages, and that is something which can be done even in state. Even when we are talking about a state also can use different languages. The If I have talked about the different caste or uh, class people, so all that is also there in state, or it is also a part of nation. But exact meaning, exact difference of a nation, I will explain to you exactly what question you asked. I will inform you on Monday. In my next class, I will answer you about it in a sociological manner. I will give you the answer for that. Fine.
Okay, ma. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Okay,
now,
madam, can
yeah.
I say something?
Okay, because otherwise, how will I complete my today's class? Yeah, please say. Yeah.
Okay, just I want to say something. Just I adding something for what my colleagues talk about or ask about the nations and state difference between nations and state. When we say nations, we talk about all over the country. When you say nations, for example, in Nigeria, when you say nations, you talk about all over the country. When you say state, state is a some place, is a some place. For example, in Nigeria, we have 36 states. We have 36 states. We have Borno, Kano, Kaduna. So this they are state. But when you say nations, you talk about all over the country. Is the nations. State is a some state that are people living whatsoever they are living there, how they can live it or how they can do their life there is a calling a state. State is a some place that people are gathering together and doing their activities, whatever. But I know that instead they have a different types of different types of language, different types of cultures. But that is the only difference between state and the nation. Nation is all over the country. When you say nations, you talk about the all over the country. State is some place that people are gathered and living together for their own state.
Yeah.
That is my
Hello, ma.
understanding, ma'am.
So what I need to add, I
Hello,
will
ma.
maybe explain to you time. So now let's actually, I think we will just stop
Hello,
for
ma.
time being, because otherwise this unit 4 I won't be able to complete. It is
Please not.
already 4:50. So
Hello, ma. Hello, ma. I am very sorry. I want to say something regarding to what my colleague said now. Please, I am very sorry.
Abdul Salam, we have
Hello,
talked
ma.
about
say
this. We have talked about
say
this for a long time. Can you let the madam finish? We have talked about this issue for a long time. She said she's going to give us an answer
this
on
is what
Monday.
I'm saying. This
Can
is what
we?
I'm
Can you let
saying.
the madam
Yeah.
finish
I
the
will.
topic, please?
No, I am not going to ask her. I just want to add something about what my colleague said now. I am there
Hey,
him. That's
just
all.
leave it for the Monday. The
So
Monday
we will now
something
see
regarding
this particular answer I will
That's
give
all
you
of it.
on Monday, and let me just finish it off, you know, because there is so much left and I have to finish it now. So this is now what I was telling you about the judiciary. So you all understand the concept of judiciary, which is very important for us to understand. Judiciary is the body actually who mainly we have to understand it is through the judiciary that justice is realized as defined by law. But it is something, basically judiciary is the body who decides if there is any issue, any problem, it goes to the judiciary. Like the court is performing the duty of a judiciary. The courts, wherever we are, we the judiciary performs these responsibility, which who takes the decisions as per law. Next is citizenships, rights and duties. So citizenship, we all understand that the population wherever we are, most of the like in modern society, most people living within the borders of political system are citizens, citizens. So we understand, we all like the citizens mean like, if we consider, if you all are here, so you all, maybe somebody is from Uganda, somebody is from from Nigeria, somebody is from from all your different parts of the states who you are from, maybe from Malawi or Somalia or South Sudan, wherever you people are from. So you all are a citizen of that particular country. And when it comes to rights, rights are the social requirement of a social man or a woman for the development of his her personality and society at large. So there are two aspects of rights, personal and social. Rights have a social characters and are given only to the people living in society and working in the overall interest of the society. Then duties. Duties basically are obligatory, it's an obligation imposed by law on an officer or a private person. There are certain duties, everybody has been given to perform certain duties to live. So this is again important. Fine. Next is democracy, elite theory, and power. Democracy, again, we see in India, we have a democracy, democratic government. Demo, which means people, and krata, meaning the government. So, boundary of democracy have been widened. Like Abraham Lincoln, many of you may have. I remember when I was very small and very young, my father used to teach me that Abraham Lincoln said, government democracy is defined in terms of government of the people, government for the people, government by the people. These three words are very important: of the people, for the people, by the people. This in itself explains the meaning of democracy. Then it says about elite theory. So elite theory, again, basically it is an Italian concept. And it has actually, so there were two sociologists that has explained this in their terms. So that one says that it is a talent, you know, to be, that is considered to be a basis for leadership. And the other, that Pareto, he believes that high degree of cunning and intelligence qualities that makes the meaning of a thing. that are the prerequisites of a power. So this is how it has been explained by them. It doesn't really say much in detail, so I won't go in detail about this. And then power. Power means strength or the capacity to control. It is described as the ability of an individual or a group to fulfill its desires and implement its decisions and ideas. Ability to influence as well as control the behavior of others even against their will. So, power means wealth, status, knowledge, force, authority. All this is a part of parcel. Some other forms of power are influence, coercion, control. So, this is how the power is being explained. Next is welfare state. So, welfare state is a concept. This says welfare state was originally applied to Britain during the Second World War. This welfare state term basically started coming in use from the Second World War. After the war, the term came into popular usage as a convenient way of referring to the social and economic policy changes take place. The welfare state can be viewed as a stemming from demands to greater equality and recognition of social rights to welfare services and social economic security. Here, welfare state is committed mainly. What is the role? To provide basic economic security for its citizens, for protecting them from market risk associated with old age, unemployment, accidents, and sickness. You know, what is the purpose? Purpose of welfare state is to wipe off poverty and hardships in society. So this is in general in this paragraph it has been explained very clearly that welfare state is basically meant to see how the difficult situations can be handled, how the poverty can be reduced. So, welfare state is to be used mainly what is meant is for the welfare of the people. Then, liberty. So, liberty is liberty is the idea of liberty has been the most powerful basically weapon in the hands of the unarmed, and it has defeated the strong enemies of dictators and imperialists. Sometimes it is identified with the absence of restraint, a negative meaning. Sometimes it is identified with the availability of certain socio-economic condition in which men or women may develop their personality, a positive meaning. Then equality. Equality does not mean identical treatment to all. It means proportional equality, equal among equals, and inequality among unequals. The basis of treating equals and unequals should be rational and just. So this has been explained. So, like it says, the end of special privileges in the society, educate opportunities to one and all. All must have access to social benefits, and no one should be restricted or denied to be. So, this is what is important. Then next, this I'm leaving. This is not very important. Now, the next is nationalism, religion, caste, and class. So, nationalism is something which is again important. National states are associated with this rise of nationalism, which can be defined as set of symbols and beliefs, you know, providing the scenes of being part of a simple political community. Thus, individuals feel a sense of pride and belonging, being Indian, British, American, Canadian, or Russian. This is again, this itself, the nationalism is being explained in this way. It is a set of symbols and beliefs providing the sense of being part of a simple political community. This is what this says about nationalism. So it says like India, like British, American, Canadian, African. So we all are from a different nations, different countries. So people have always felt some kind of identity with social group of one form of another, their family, village, or religious community. Nationalism, however, made its appearance only with the development of the modern state. So then here, this says culture and religion. So the state protects all religions equally and does not itself impose a state religion. The state does not have any specific religion to follow. State believes in the religion of all people. You know, it gives equal importance. If in state there are people of different religions are living, it gives value to them. So it says that in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Burma uphold a particular religions as the state religion. But in India, like in India, we have different states and different cultures people live in. So it has been given importance to all them equally. So the state shall not compel any citizen to pay any taxes for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious institution. So this is again something very important. Whichever country we live in, whichever state we are part of, no state can give importance to any specific religion. This is not legally permitted, you know. So no religious institution shall be provided in any educational institution wholly provided by state funds. Every person is guaranteed the freedom of conscience and freedom to profess, practice, and propagate his or her own religion. So, this is something which is important. The state shall not impose upon any culture other than the community's own culture. You know, this is again very important. No state can compel anybody to follow any specific religion. This is important. Then caste and politics. Again, the caste is something which we have talked about. The caste basically, you know, the nature of political democracy has brought caste and political closer to each other. In some places, we can see there are certain kind of a caste people, they generally win. You know, in that community, in that place, if certain caste people are residing and they give vote to a specific person, so that kind of a politics still exists. But you know, caste, which has divided a society for centuries, serve as the best technique of group mobilization. The politicians find caste as extremely well articulated and flexible basis for organization, since power and prestige are no more being offered based on caste. The lower caste people have naturally been prompted to accept political involvement as the other means out. So this is again important. Then class and society. So each class is a subculture with a set of attitude, beliefs, values, behavior norms which differ from those of others. It is there everywhere. Social classes are based on total social and economic position in the community, including wealth, income, occupation, education, self identification, hereditary, prestige, group participation, and recognition by others. So, class lines are not clearly drawn but represent points along a continuum of social status. Then there are two authors, this sociologist Karl Marx and Max Weber has given there the explanation. I'm not going into detail of that. Next is civil society, community organization, and social capital. Uh, I won't really go much in detail about that, but civil society, I surely want you people to understand. Broadly, civil society can be conceived as included all public, political, non-state activity occurring between government and family. Civil society basically comprises all independent, voluntary, and private sector activities that include individuals and households, the media, business, civic institutions, and organizations. So, civil society organizations have been responsible for advancing political freedom and uh, political freedom, safeguarding basic rights, enhancing civic institutions, and furthering social development as much lower cost than the government. So they are basically responsible in the activities of non-government organizations, social movements, community-based peoples, organizations, religious groups, peasant association, consumers, groups and trade unions. So all this you can see that there are civic societies. They are the societies. Basically, they are not the government, but they are the non-government people in the different heads. They are working for the welfare of the people. Working for the well-being of the people in the name of different kind of a setup. There may be non-government organization. There may be social movements. There are some few individuals get together and make certain social movements that all come under the civil society. Community organization I'm not touching. It just says in two simple lines here, the community based people's organization are also important contributors to good civic governance. These organizations are defined as democratic organizations that represent the interest of their members and are accountable to them. See, community organization you will study in your next paper. After me, I think your next course is community organization. So you will study the whole complete course about this. So I'm not going into detail. Social capital promotes democratization in general and democratic performance in particular. Social capital is the ability of people to work together for common purposes in groups and organization. Then you have local governance and public opinion. In India, we have this practice. Yesterday also I talked about Panchayati Raj. Panchayati Raj is basically a system that is generally being observed in rural areas. In rural areas, generally, with every village and then blocks and then districts, they have a different Panchayati Raj bodies. They are being given certain roles and responsibilities to perform for the well-being of the people living in rural areas. So this is what it is. And when we say public opinion, so public opinion is said to be the basis of democracy. It is the link between the government and the people. The term public opinion is commonly used to denote the aggregate of views the people hold regarding matters that affect or interest them, their community and society. So this is how public opinion is created through means, agents like mass media, political parties, pressure groups, elections, debates in the legislature, educational institutions, public meetings like that. The press, radio, television, cinema are some of the several means of carrying political, social, and religious ideas of the people. So this is what is public opinion. So public opinion, like if we have few people in our class, so we can also make a public opinion of certain things, anything we want to make a public opinion. So this is generally that can be given, can be propagated through media, through TV, radio, or any other means. So that is how it goes. So this is what is there in unit 4 of state. So this is from my side for today's class. So now we have completed 2 blocks. So now we have in 3 classes, we have completed first block and second block. And in the next 2 classes, we will finish on our third and fourth block. Okay. So if all fine, then we can, close for today. If everything is okay, and that answer I will give you on Monday. Is it okay? You can
Okay,
close?
thank you, madam. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Yeah.
Namaste, madam. Namaste.
Yeah.
Guys, I have a question. Are they uploading these videos on our portal?
No. They are uploading these videos into YouTube. So I hope everyone has received the email.
Can we please?
explain to make
No,
subscribers to you.
no.
Yes.
Can we talk in that group, please? Can we ask in that WhatsApp group, please? Let us ask in the WhatsApp group, please.